What is going on, YouTube? PPS back. It is past the prop. We're here for Friday's 15 game slate. We got everybody in action tonight. I'm really excited to talk about this slate. Obviously, full. Everybody you want to see is going. Joined as always by my guy Stu. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm staying busy. Obviously, was up after a late night Nigeria versus Canada World Cup match last night. No success on my end, but that's okay. Great MLB slate today, like you mentioned. Absolutely love having such a huge selection of games right here. And then, nobody better to chop it up with than one of our favorite guests of all time here on Past the Prop. So I'm super pumped, man. Couldn't be more happy to be here.
Yeah, we're joined with John Laghezza. We haven't seen you in a couple weeks, man, so we had to bring you back on. Obviously, this is we only bring you in for the heavy hitters on the big slates like this. You know, we're going to need help on a slate like this one. A lot of close spreads. We don't have too many huge favorites here, but we always love to hear your thoughts. How you doing, John? How things been?
I'm good, man. You guys are my favorite. You mind if I take a second just pump this stuff I got going on? So I have because I know we got some DJs, a lot of fun. I have a second half MLB Survivor pool going on right now. It starts on Monday. So you can pin tweet at John Laghezza on Twitter. $100, we're going to take all. First few weeks, you pick your team. It's all through a third-party verified site, Run Your Pool. So they take care of everything, cool stats and stuff like that. We're going to take all. I pay out the cash. Sometimes it's bigger than others. We're already up over $1,000 for the grand prize. And then for the football degenerates, I know it's a little bit early. I just put out my fantasy ranks, but also like for prop betting and stuff because people are starting to bet futures. They're starting to come out. And you guys know, like my cheat sheets on my thing. But I got some really rocking football stuff. Offense, defense, passing, running, split time stuff. It's really cool. And it's $10 for the whole season. I like to bring it for cheap because everything's so expensive now, and I don't like monthly subscription stuff. So I figured, listen, $10 once is like you can peel off the Band-Aid, you kind of suck it up, and then you get to pick the brain a little bit for the next 6 months. Hopefully it's worth it. So, all right, guys, let's make some money. Let's pay those $10 fees, right? Let's pay them.
Yeah, let's do it. So we got, like I said, every single team going today. And I mean, we got a lot of stuff to talk about on this slate. So we might as well get into it so we don't keep you guys here for 2 hours. You guys know that we would definitely do that pretty quickly when we got John here on board. Do want to give a quick shout out to my Brewers for coming through as my second straight dog pick. Shout out to them. They came through. I can't believe that they're actually deciding they're going to be good now. So
Burns was a dog.
What did you say?
Burns was a dog.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
I had that F5 smashed or more. Yeah, good for you, man. I'm on you. I'm with you.
It was almost too easy, and it's like one play that I feel like is one that's going under the radar is Burns walks. They're giving you at 1.5. Burns, when he was in the Cy Young Award, dude, he was walking he was barely walking anybody. I don't even know if he got to 30 on the whole season. The dude was phenomenal. So I always try to find that when they give me plus money on those walk spots, and definitely he
they're a little
smashed it
slow
again.
to adjust.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see Matty Williams in the chat, Frank Amarante, a couple other sharp prop guys put me onto that you could kind of catch the wave. Like they were in front of those. My gosh, the George Kirby, they were posting him at 1.5 forever. Yeah. And it's juiced up, but people were just mopping it up 31 of 33 or something like that. So yeah, you guys are super sharp at those. Keep an eye on that stuff.
Let's kind of talk about our favorite game of the slate. Obviously, that's always how we kind of start out. Stu, I'll kick it to you first here. I mean, you got the pick of the litter, man. You're the first one up. What do you want to talk about? Who's the game of the day?
Yeah, I think I'll go a little chalky right here. I think Rangers-Dodgers has got to be my big screen game of the day. No doubt about it right here. I mean, two of the best teams over on the West Coast squaring off head-to-head, two very intriguing pitchers. But it's not necessarily those ace matchups either, right? It's the number 2, number 3 starter, which still lets these amazing offenses get to work. And that's exactly what I want to see happen tonight. So, like you mentioned, killer games. I mean, that Mets-Red Sox series is going to be ecstatic this week. Super excited for all this weekend baseball. But, yeah. Big screen tonight. First game going on is definitely Dodgers-Rangers.
John, which game's catching your eye here? Can't repeat them, unfortunately, but he used the Dodgers one. Muted on there, my man. Muted on there.
Yeah, I don't want to interrupt. Sorry. I've been really onto the Marlins today. I've been just sounding the klaxon, banging the drum for Braxton Garrett. Ever since, dude, they let this guy eat 11 earned runs, and everybody just ran for their lives. And it's a shame. He's a lot better than that. I've been just betting this guy, adding him everywhere. So I've been rolling with that. I like the fish. Yeah, I like the fish on the cover. I like his K's and stuff. So I'm going to be watching the Marlins tonight, man.
Marlins, okay. I had mine's tied, but I mean I'm gonna probably go just because it is in Great American Ballpark. I'm gonna go with the D-backs Reds there. I'm excited to see how the Reds kind of get back into shape here after obviously a tough series with the Brewers heading into the break. You obviously have them playing the Brewers this week. I will be at that game on Tuesday. Shout out there. I'll be there Tuesday and Saturday. Make sure you guys know right now. I'm telling you that's big news. You've been paying attention. We're 5-1 on the year. Last year I was 11-2. It's been pretty good. So we're 18-3 in my last 2 years and going to games. So I'll be at the game Saturday, be at the game Tuesday. But this is a huge series for the Reds. They're going to have to do something here. They've been struggling. They did have a nice win yesterday. Obviously, Andrew Abbott just diced them up, which was much needed after 2 bullpen days. But dude, this Diamondbacks team just got they got their heart ripped out a little bit there at the end of that last game against the Braves. Austin Riley and Olsen both go yard, double dong both of them. So I'm excited to see how Tommy Henry does here. I think this is a tough spot for him, but I'm also thinking that we're going to see a little bit of runs here coming off of Lively.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm excited for that matchup right there. I mean, obviously two of the younger teams in baseball. That's what we want to see. We want to see these young guys duke it out. These are the faces of the game right now. I think we spent half the season talking about how cool it is, just as baseball fans, that we get to see Ellie and Corbin both play so well. Now we get to see them square off tonight. So definitely pumped for that matchup.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, Kevin already brought it up before I even got to say it. I'll be talking about Corbin Carroll as one of my bets today. I obviously love that guy. Refund on the pass the prop sweep. Yeah, dude, I saw Plus Money Bob grabbing it, just pulling down that little bit on one of them. I know he clicked the wrong guy. I had Colin Rea under 15.5 outs recorded. He ended up at 15. Same thing for Christopher Sanchez. He stayed under 15. He grabbed the wrong guy, still cash. Congrats to you, Plus Money Bob. We always appreciate having you in here and joining us here. So, Stu, you want to take it away first? I'll kick it over to you, and then we'll get into John's first play. I'll kick it over to you for your first guy. I mean, all reliable, right?
Yeah, no, we're going to go to 2 pass the prop favorites right here. Yandy Diaz and Lane Thomas, both to record a hit. This is minus 106 over on FanDuel Sportsbook right now, although you can get a good price on this pretty much everywhere. And yeah, Yandy Diaz, I think, definitely jumped out as one of the most priced guys off the bat, right? When you look at these hit parlays every day, when you look at a guy that's 6th in the major leagues in batting average at 318, you're used to seeing him minus 300, minus 330 to record a hit. In a very good matchup, you're used to seeing, 370, 380, some borderline unbettable numbers in these hit parlays. That's not the case today. Diaz down to 260, very respectable for a guy of his quality. And I mean, everything's looking right here. The recent form is good, hitting 323 in the month of July, coming in here, has good pitching matchup history against Bradish right here, hitting over 300 in his career. It's just one of those examples of a guy that I think was pretty clearly mispriced. There are a lot of very intriguing hit guys on the slate today. And obviously Diaz, if you look at that Baseball Savant page, one of the most impressive in the league, red all over the board. Looks like a horror movie out there. Absolutely love Diaz today. And then you guys know, Lane Thomas, that's our guy. It's the Lane train past the prop. We're going right back against the lefty. We got him at the 2 places we love him. At home, Nats Park, and against the lefty, right? It's kind of like we were talking about with Justin Turner last week on the show. Way better splits at home, over 300 at home, over 370 on the season versus left-handed pitching. That's obviously not a surprise anymore. We've been banging on that drum all year long. Everyone is pretty aware of it, but we're very likely to get those at-bats at the top of the order right here. Love Lane against the lefty, and then you obviously can throw in that 4-for-7 career history with a couple doubles in there. Small sample size, but it's good to see that both these guys have some good career history. So minus 106 for 2 of the most consistent guys that we've been going back to back for all year long. I'll take that 10 out of 10 times today.
We love it. We love it. Have you been on the Lane train there, John? I know Stu's been banging that drum as a Nats fan, but have you been on the Lane train?
Yeah, I just missed one the other day. Because, again, Lane Thomas versus lefties is everything. Although it's probably on me. I got a little greedy. I moved to the total bases. Sometimes they tempt you with that plus 140 when I probably should have went with the hit run ribby. Sometimes you got to eat a little bit of the juice for that. But a guy like him, if he walks, he may run. And without getting any bases, he could get you across that finish line. So come on, Lane Thomas gets lefties, baby. Something in particular for the lesson is always, he's one of those guys that with the platoon, he's a leadoff guy in that spot. And I think sometimes books just don't get to that. Guys that it was Friedel for a little bit for the Reds would get that treatment. Guys that I don't know where, like what Slater on the Giants gets that treatment.
Gunnar Henderson too. Gunnar Henderson's the same.
Yeah, Gunner's a really good one. He's one of the better ones, Jay, because the problem with the Giants is those guys get pinch hit for. So I don't really like doing it. A lot of sharp people are getting on Julian now with the Twins. He was getting pinch hit for. Now he seems to be staying in the game. So you got to keep an eye on that stuff. I'm telling you, lineup placement, whether guys stay in, total sharp stuff for real.
Beautiful. Hey, CJ Abrams, shout out CJ Abrams. Keep swiping those bases, my guy. Keep doing your thing. I love that, man. Keep going. John, take us away with your first play, heading over back in your boy Braxton.
Yeah, I mean, this one, and I hate to rely on just, people that kind of say their own work. My model said this, or like my plus model says this. But like sometimes it's just screaming. You got the edge in the game every way that you could slice it. So Colorado, the Rockies, I got Peter Lambert listed. Although he may not go, I don't think it matters against Braxton Garrett. I mentioned him in the malpractice, but you take a look at Lambert. Even if he only gets an open a one-time through, the ERA's over 6, the whip near 2. He's not any good. Garrett's been excellent, even though the ERA's at 3.9. Part of that is at 11 runs. His xFIP and Sierra both at 3.25 or below. 22.5 K minus BB, 31.5 CSW, 68 first strike, 36 O swing. So I call it the bully metric on my show. When you add first strike to chase rate and you get over 100, you got a pitcher. He gets up, he gets ahead, and then can make you chase his garbage. Listen, in a race to 15 outs for F5s or even 9 inning games, that for me that's the key. You want those bullies. You want the guy that's going to get up there and shove when he's good. So he's been great. And then if you flip it the other way, the Rocky offense is terrible right now. Last 500 plate appearances, they have a team OBP of 265. That's a 67 WRC plus. They're absolutely garbage. Miami top 3 in batting average in that span. They're hitting the ball hard, getting on and stuff like that. They're not world beaters, but Miami does do enough. And then I think we got the edge in the bullpens as well. So I don't know. Just give it to me this way. Just cover it up. The juice was crazy on the money line that I think was like 250. I was surprised to get such a discount on the cover. So I always tend to do that math. Give me Miami to run away with this one, hopefully.
Yeah, no, it's tough to ever be upset with taking a lefty against Colorado, man, dude. They have officially replaced the Brewers and the A's as the last place team in OPS.
Pick on the Brewers.
They are so bad. My Brewers actually playing lefties pretty decent lately.
You can't go up against them right now. Yeah. I pulled back on that one. No, that's a good call. Some people are not time splitting those things, man. And listen, if the Brewers, you get a guy back like Adames who wakes up, Yelich is on fire. You can't just discount what that means. And then, with Contreras has always hit lefties well. That was the one piece they had. The other piece that's coming up, Weimer's always hit lefties well. So, you can't really go up against them. Rockies, absolutely. I think they may be dead last, ex-Woba last 30 versus lefties. Garrett should literally carve them up. We haven't mentioned the FanDuel K leader. So, I'm going to jam in my donkey bet. I think he's 12-1 or 15-1.
Wow.
If you want to responsibly hit that, there's probably a smart $1 or $2 for Braxton Garrett. Right? He's a candidate to go for a dozen Ks tonight.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that spot a lot, and I was going to say, you're preaching to the choir here. This is the ultimate fade Brewers first half of the season, then pull back, when the rest of gambling Twitter is still using the outdated stats. That's how it is sometimes around here, but I'm glad you feel the same way because people are probably tired of hearing about it. We've talked about that, especially with the Brewers a lot this year. I love the look. I think Garrett, especially, the problem is when he does get out of sorts, right? It's the control, it's the walks. I do think that's way more likely to happen against a more intimidating lineup, though. I've kind of talked about that a lot this year. These younger guys that have the control issues. I like taking them in these lower stress outings where you can really trust them to shove, right? Nobody is scared of this Colorado lineup whatsoever, especially against lefties. This almost feels like kind of those, stress-free outings when a guy can go out there and get you 7 innings and, like you said, a nice spike, 10 or so Ks.
Beautiful, beautiful. Stu, I'm actually heading to Washington today for my first bet, and I'm going to the Nationals first 5 over 5.5. Jake Irvin, Alex Wood. Hey, we like both of those. I already like it off the bat just hearing those names. It's just music to my ears, music to the overs for everybody out here. But let's just talk a little bit. I know you want to hype up Jake Irvin. I'm not going to talk too much shit. I'll keep it low just because I don't want to hurt your feelings. A 5.1 expected ERA so far this year. Expected WOBA over 370 to lefties right now. And this is going to be tough because you're facing a lineup here that's going to probably 7 to 8 lefties in this Giants lineup. They're going to have Conforto back in there. Got Jock. Obviously, that's going to be really scary. You got Bailey, who just hits everybody now. Sable's out there as well. So a lot of left-handed power here. It's going to obviously play up from San Francisco, where they're usually just playing in the biggest park in the world, right? And also top 10 in WRC plus against right-handed pitching. And then you go over to Alex Wood. We love taking the Nationals against lefties. It's just something we like to do. Top 5 in batting average versus lefties. We're seeing a lot more power from Alex Wood allowed than he usually does in the past. Again, this is the same thing we talked about. I took the Reds first 5 against Logan Webb when he went into that smaller park. It ended up getting me a push on the straight money line. Ended up cashing my run line bet because, you give up more power at this park, dude. It's going to be so much different than when you're in San Francisco here. And I'm fine with fading Alex Wood, even though he might not get through the full 5 innings. I still think he's going to give up a few runs here. Give me 2 from each side real early. I'm thinking that probably the first 2 innings be 2-2. I think it's going to be quick. I think it'll be fun. And we're going to hope for that Nationals. Shout out CJ Abrams again. I'm going to keep shouting you out. You keep carrying my fantasy team. You get some hype on Past the Prop. Hopefully the Nationals can keep running all the way around those bases and swiping bases. And Lane Train can hit a nuke in there too for me.
Yeah, no, I absolutely like this spot. We talk about it a lot. Obviously, the Nationals can contribute those 2 to 3 runs against lefties. We're a little bit more scared against right-handed pitching. And yeah, Irvin, he's kind of the wild card for me. I watch every Nationals game. I bet on them, I think, more than any sane person should. Irvin is one of those guys that he's just kind of consistently given up those 3 to 4 runs. He hasn't been terrible. He hasn't really shown any amazing flashes. I think it's just one of those classic kind of end of rotation emergency starter situations right here. And that Washington bullpen is not great right now, obviously, especially the back of the bullpen that I was defending a little bit has been struggling. So I wouldn't even mind this full game, honestly. I think we could see, I guess the biggest issue is the Giants back end of the bullpen is very good, and Washington is going to do nothing against that. So I like the early offense. I think on Washington's side, some late offense might come as well.
Yeah, I got 10 runs. I got 10 runs scored in this game. Total, I was checking the algo. I'm over on the F5 as well. Wood has a 4.5 ERA, 1.5 whip, and he's due for negative regression.
Yep.
All the indicators are north of 5, 11.5 walk rate, single-digit K minus BB, 26 O swing. Righties are just killing him, like you mentioned. Yeah, he has a sub-3 ERA on the road, but it's a +5 xFIP because a third of a homer 9. That's not. I don't think it's going to fly. Same for Irvin. He's got a 5 ERA, 1.5 whip. He's due for negative regression. He's got a 5.5 Sierra, 5.5 K minus walk ERA, 5 K minus BB. This is really bad. 14% whiff rate. You're just really not going to get by on that. Lefties have crushed him as well. Like you mentioned, the Giants are going to stack it. I was a little bit surprised, like Stu mentioned, just because. And again, everyone's a little bit different. Not saying I'm right, you're wrong. It's just different because I think they're both going over. But when I get bullpen signals like I'm getting on the Washington Nationals right now, I tend to lean towards the full game just in case something goes south with the starters. You could kind of fall back on that. Stu, let me just put some context to that. It's absurd. It's unfortunate because I like the Nationals. They may have even taken over the Athletics for the worst bullpen in the league. Last 32 2/3. It's a 10.5 ERA with a 2 whip. 345 batting average allowed, 10% barrel, 2.5 homer 9. Jesus, that's that if that were a single pitcher, you're getting demoted, fired, you're going down to the minors. It's an entire it's an 8-man bullpen right now. They're a disaster. I was a big into Hunter Harvey, and he was kind of the linchpin there.
Yep.
Right, he went down. And the rest of it has just completely spun out of control. And again, it's not to bash the Nationals. I love the Nats. I like the way they put together that kind of scrappy team with forgotten prospects and stuff. But, man, I think this one could get ugly early. I'm a J, man. I think we cover – you could give it to 6, really early in this one.
Yeah.
When's the last time you've seen 2 starters with a 1.5 whip both facing each other?
Yeah.
It's unreal, dude. I don't think I've seen that in a long time. And you mentioned the –
And also – I'm telling you, man, people take the bias of the team. Because the Nationals stink, even the ballpark is bad. People did that to the Reds last year. And it's yes, we get the offense is not good. But if they're going to be like top 5 in home run, you know what I mean? Like the home run rates were just through the roof. Everything was through the roof. Yeah, the hitting environment's really good. You nailed Nats versus a lefty. I think the team total is a healthy play here. Yeah, I just like everything. I like everything.
Yeah, no, I like that you mentioned dude has a 16% K rate. This we're talking about Irvin. And he's got almost an 11% walk rate. That is impressive, dude. That is actually impressive. Shout out Jake Irvin. Hopefully he can continue doing that into today's action here. We'll take a look at the chat here. All-Star game came at the wrong time for Adamas. Yeah, dude, Adamas is starting to heat up a little bit here. Hopefully it continues. I'll kick it over to you, John. We got a couple questions here in the chat for this one.
Sure.
Thoughts on Jays Mariners tonight? Obviously, we're going to see Bryce Miller, second outing after the IL with that blister. Curious how he's going to show up. Obviously, he did very, very well, but do we even count the Tigers as a Major League Ball club? I don't know. But here we go. So he's got a tougher matchup here today in the Jays. You got any thoughts on this one? Pretty close-ish spread.
Yeah, I'm by a hair. You know, as you were talking through it, I not to lean on them, but I use my algorithm and the model as a base for my work, and you should. You know, I know a lot of sharp people use my stuff, whether or not you're tailing picks. Like, that's kind of the way you should go about this. Man, I have this by a nose because, you know, Kikuchi's actually been a little bit better. You know, the fastball is looking really good, but again, you have the same problems as always. He's on the road, too many fly balls, too many barrels. The thing is, the Mariners' offense is not good right now.
Yeah, bad.
It's been really bad. 213 team batting average last 500, nearly 28% K rate, 13 swinging strike. They're not looking really good. Kikuchi has that in his bag. So you may get him as the edge here. I really like Miller. I really like him. But at the same time, let's not shortchange the Jays offense. They're starting to get up off the mat, fellas. 331 team WOBA last 2 weeks, top 3 in OBP because of that disciplinary stuff. The K rate at 19, the walk rate at 10.5 as a squad. You know, 7% came at his walk as a squad, particularly one as talented as the Blue Jays, meaning what? They're making you throw strikes. They're going to put the stick on the ball. So I'm kind of wishy-washy here. I like to bet on Miller, but in a better spot. I like to bet on Kikuchi, maybe in a better spot. So I think I'm just off this one. Maybe I like the big screen note. Like, I may watch it, right? I may be watching this one.
Good game.
Okay, I was just about to say I love Miller, so that was going to be my second choice for the big screen one as well. But, I mean, I wish they were dogs, right? When you look at that number, you kind of wish, like, if I could get plus 100, plus 105, maybe it would look a little bit better. But same exact thing as you, where you're looking at it and you're thinking this is a great look, but it's just enough to kind of push you off with that Blue Jays, Kikuchi, everything like that. So that'll be a good game.
All right.
Miller is a GOAT, by the way. Miller is going to be damn good. Going forward, like fantasy, prioritize as a fantasy pick. Like, yeah, he's going to be damn good.
Yeah,
but the Blue Jays can get 2 runs off anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just got to be realistic. Yeah.
It sucks for me. I got Miller and I'm facing Kikuchi in fantasy this week. So hopefully, you know, they're going to go at each other. Sucks for me also. And we have one keeper in our baseball league. We get to keep one guy only. And I got Corbin Carroll and Miller. So now I'm kind of screwed. So it's like, I don't know which one. Yeah, it's tough. So
dude, Carroll is so good, man. Yeah. I don't think you can. I don't know if there's only a small handful of players on a 1v1 basis that you take over him.
Yeah,
he's playing his way to being like a top 3 overall pick in fantasy next year.
Yeah, dude, it's so nice. Have him in like 8 out of my 10 best ball leagues as well. So it's just like reliable, man. It's all reliable. We will take those questions here after our second round of plays. I want to make sure we get these in. Obviously, you know how it is when we got a guest on here. We always usually talk a little longer. So I want to make sure we get through all of our plays for you guys, especially if you're only able to pop with us for a little bit. Stu, another one of these hits, runs, RBIs from you that just doesn't – this line don't make sense. So let's see it. Let's hear it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's part of what we've really been doing recently here is, I mean, there are a lot of hits run guys that popped up to me, but I mean, we hit Yoshida and Turner in back-to-back shows, and it was really kind of the same logic right here. If this number, quite frankly, doesn't make sense, right? We're used to seeing Mookie Betts consistently at that 2.5 number, almost day in and day out. And when he's not, he's at a fairly unbettable minus 170, kind of minus 180 range. So when we get him with an opportunity at minus 130, where he's not facing an absolute stud, right? When you do see Mookie Betts at minus 130 for this market, it's going to be one of those situations where he's likely going against one of the 10 best pitchers in the league, because that is really one of the only factors that can bring his value to that point, right? But I don't see that here. This is a game with a 9.5 total, right? This is a game where we're expecting offense. The sportsbooks clearly think these two very, very strong offenses are going to get at it. Who better to support, right, than the leadoff hitter and Mookie Betts? And I mean, obviously, the leadoff hitter has pretty inherent value just for this runs market right here, even besides what he's going to do getting on base. The walks have been up recently, which isn't great traditionally, for batter props, but it does serve you some value here because we want those runs scored at the end of the day. The only thing I don't love about this, I will say, is we do like RBI equity in this a lot. Betts doesn't have a lot of it. The end of that Dodgers lineup isn't super strong. You're probably going to have to get Outman, Hayward in a pretty good situation right there with the lefty. Hayward probably won't even play. So, or Outman, I guess. So it's one of those situations where I'm not really trusting the RBIs. We're mostly going for the if we get an RBI, it's a bonus, right? But we love the hits. We love the runs. We love the RBIs. And hey, guess what? A guy with 11 leadoff home runs this year, the most in baseball by far. I think it might be more than anyone else added up too as well. He can pretty much give us everything right here on his own. You love the left-handed split, 720 slugging on the season versus left-handed batters. When we look at what Heaney is relying on to right-handed pitch or right-handed batting, he's going heavy four-seamer followed by the slider and the changeup. Absolutely crushes the fastball slider combo, slugging over 600 against both of them, expected slugging in the same general proximity as well. We're not expecting any regression. This is one of the best hitters in baseball. We're getting him at a very reasonable price at minus 130. I mean, heck, I was looking at my guy Lane Thomas earlier. He's minus 160. I know it's a little bit of a different situation, but these are two clearly different players. Mookie Betts is an MVP every single season, right? So I love this price right here. I think this is great value, and we're going to keep taking advantage.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm not expecting to see a 1.5 next to Mookie Betts ever. So I definitely will be all over this one with you. Hopefully it doesn't move too much. I'm sure it probably will when people see it. It's like, what the hell? Why is Mookie sitting there? But another line that I do really like is yours, John. This was my guy that I thought was kind of under the radar for that daily K leader here. So I want to hear your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, give me the horse Bradish. We're going back with Baltimore. There's a couple things at play here. So first off, I mean, I think he's got the goods. So a 5.5 K line at standard pricing is a good deal, just right off the bat, right? Just on its face. The K rate of 23.5 for the year, I think doesn't really tell the whole story. 28 CSW is really where it's at because of the pitch mix change. He started featuring that slide. It was really all about the slider. And that was all his emergence last year was all about pushing the slider to the 4. They came back this year with the old pitch mix. It didn't work as well. They went back to what worked, and now he looks, he's like the ace of the Orioles. They're a first-place team. He looks awesome. No surprise. The production has come with that. In fact, I think it might have happened in that game against the Brewers. He had 10. He K'd 10 Brewers. That one, he wasn't really efficient. Then the next game, 7 clean innings against the Blue Jays. He didn't really have the strikeout stuff going. But anytime you go 7 innings, 1 earned against the Blue Jays, you're doing something right. And then you've had at least 7 Ks in 4 of the last 5. Now to the last point is we mentioned jerseys and how people, LOL the Nets. They do the reverse for good teams too. They're still like the Rays are the best. It's so ridiculous. The Rays are not any good right now. I've literally been picking on the Rays for the past month. The Rays get priced like an elite team. Granted, they pitch, and you got Eflin on the bump, but we don't care about that. The offense is not any good right now. Last 500 plate appearances, quite literally a bottom 8 team, 23.5 K. The same way I mentioned the Bradish K rate doesn't tell the whole story. This is the Rays as a team. Last 500 PAs, 13.5 swinging strike, 37 chase rate, sub 85 zone contact. They have a 281 expected WOBA against righties last 30. These are all bottom 3, bottom 5 garbage pail metrics. This line should be a full strikeout higher, and I think a little bit even juiced up. So I have this at like 6.5 minus 130, not 5.5 minus 110. People are looking at, again, it's the year-to-date stuff, right? They're not adjusting. Stu mentioned it. You got a lot of that. We're at the point of the season where the people using year-to-date stuff are getting exposed. You know, it happens in football all the time too, but it happens faster in football because of the injuries. Right now, you got to be on. It's not saying, "Oh, look at recent stats yesterday, dude." This is a tangible change, and 7 starts in a row. This guy's been quality. Yeah, this one's a misprice. I like this one a lot.
Yeah, and I mean, you saw Kyle Gibson just shove on these dudes yesterday. Who's what?
He's not a strikeout.
Yeah, he's not even a strikeout guy. Brad looked phenomenal against my Brewers. I watched that game, start to finish. Dude's electric. Off speed is phenomenal. Swing and miss rate is way up there. The dude's huge too. So I mean, it just looks like it's coming down.
I like that.
Yeah, he's just massive. So Stu, you got anything on this one here?
Yeah, no, I love the spot. I just wanted to throw in a little credit. Obviously, I love the mention of the mixing of the pitch splits, right? He changed around the arsenal. I think that's the kind of thing, right? When someone cites last 7 games, people look at it and go, why are you picking 7 games? You know, why not 10 games? Why not 5 games? It's like when you can point to a specific change in your arsenal, you know, that you found, right? That you think there's valuable data in that, and then you can exploit that. That's what we want to do. That is what we're all trying to do here, right? Yeah. I mean, obviously the sports books can see how many strikeouts he's had any given out, and the place where there's the actual edge, right? Where there's the chance that you can take advantage of them is the kind of minute stuff that you're mentioning, right? Where he's finally figured out when to throw the slider, how to correctly use that pitch mix, how to maximize it. Now we're getting the results we want. So love the spot right here. Just wanted to give a little credit for you mentioning it right there. And yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we always, I mean, again, I think that's how we kind of connected without really knowing each other outside of this stuff. You guys bring the smoke, you know, and that's what, like you said, that's what it's all about. It's not about pinching small samples. It's about finding the stuff that matters, regardless of where it is. Tangible change plus subsequent impact, you know, is me. We hear this all the time. Right? Oh, he didn't like Bradish. No, he does. You're not flip-flopping with new information. It's called critical thinking. You know what I'm saying?
Especially, you can before we move on, you can make that argument in the NFL. Baseball's practically a year-long sport. If you're not flip-flopping on people, that is a problem. You need to be looking in the mirror, right? Like, seriously.
Well, yeah, you're still chasing the Rays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Something I've talked about on my show with pitching that I need to clean up next year because now I'm back testing my betting stuff. And, dude, I'm getting out of the box slow because I'm trying to be Mr. Big Sample guy and use it's the middle of May, and I'm trying to use last year's pitching stats. How'd that do you for Manoah and Lance Lynn and Sandy Alcantara? Literally getting your teeth knocked in every 5 days on each of these guys. No, go line up the Lynn, Alcantara, Manoah regression bettors. How they do? They got smoked because they didn't pick up on velo dips, maybe the impact of the shift and the BABIP to different handed pitchers and sided hitters, and all that stuff matters. So, you know, I don't just go on any show.
All right, my last one here. I got to get that plus money. I know plus money Bob's tuning in, so you know I got to get it. And I talked about this guy already, Corbin Carroll. I'm going hits, runs, RBIs at 2.5. He is the only guy, I believe, in this game, if I remember correctly, at least the only Diamondback for sure. I don't think I've seen anybody else at 2.5 in this game. They've just been juicing up the 1.5s for everybody else in this one. I was surprised when I saw a 10.5 total with this at plus money. Obviously, you're playing in probably the best ballpark to hit in outside of Coors Field, and sometimes it's probably better than Coors Field. I'm attacking Ben Lively here. I know he's been really, really good lately, but what I do want to talk about is usage of the four-seam fastball against lefties. It's 10% higher than it is against righties, so we're going to see that. Obviously, Corbin Carroll is batting .352 against four seams, .736 slugging, right? I mean, this dude is just smashing baseball, especially against right-handed pitching. But I also wanted to look at Lively. He's only allowed a .230 batting average to left-handed batters so far this year. But let's just look at the slugging percentage against those left-handed batters, man. At home against lefties, he has a .533 slug against left-handed hitters so far. Out of his 13 hits allowed, 6 of them have been home runs to lefties. We just saw Corbin go deep yesterday. He has the ability to swipe bases after a walk. You have Ketel Marte batting extremely well right now as well, giving him opportunities for RBIs. He's at this number in 2 of 3. I can't get away from Corbin Carroll. And again, we talk about the matchup with these young guys. You want to show them up. You want to show them up a little bit. Now you got the guy they're talking about more than you, even though you've been doing it the whole season. He's been doing it for a month and a half. Go out there, show him who's the number 1 rookie, obviously leading that Rookie of the Year charge. I love Corbin Carroll. Obviously, his barrel rate's crazy. We got Ben Lively, who I'm expecting a little bit of regression as well. sign me up for Corbin Carroll. I love betting on this guy. He's been phenomenal for me all year. Great in best ball. This man is, he doesn't even look like a rookie out there anymore.
Hold on. RIP to all the National League Rookie of the Year tickets that don't have his name on it.
Yeah.
Because I was one of the people that was like, he's so favored that there's value in case he gets injured. You know what I mean? Just in case he or stinks. And now he's got to be considered in the MVP conversation. You know what I mean? Forget the Rookie of the Year. Like I haven't looked because whatever, those tickets are burned. You know, but he's the GOAT, man. He's so good.
Yeah, no, obviously the 400, it was pretty rough to lay for a season-long bet, right, for Rookie of the Year. So I completely see what you mean right there. But, hey, he's proven it. He's proven he's the real deal. He's proven he got that contract for a reason. And, yeah, this is a great spot right here. Obviously, like you mentioned, he could walk and steal every single base, right? We've seen him do it before. It's easy first to second, second to third, instant, right? So we love having that ability right here. And we also love having a deep Diamondbacks offense as well. You can get some RBIs at the end of that at the end of that offense. So definitely love this spot right here. I was looking at Carroll as well. That slugging against the fastball is so good too. I would not be surprised if we saw another homer today.
Yeah, and you're going from Atlanta where it was 85-90, and now you're heading to an even better ballpark for hitting here, heading over to Great American. Obviously, this is a hell of a week to have Corbin Carroll in best ball because him and Austin Riley are just carrying most of my teams right now. So let's take a look, guys. Oh my gosh,
we might see in the playoffs soon. We're coming up
a lot of questions in here.
We're coming up on the playoffs soon, man. Right? I'm going to see you in the finals. I got some rock and dinger teams, man. I'll see you there. We're talking underdog. You're playing DraftKings, right?
I'm on DraftKings. Yeah.
I didn't really play DraftKings. All right, maybe we'll both win titles. All right,
yeah, hopefully we both take one down. That would be hype. I haven't had a takedown in a while, so hopefully.
It's hard when you get to the end, brother. It's hard. I had one, and it sucked. One Nelson Cruz base hit last year. If you remember, he got traded to the Rays. You remember that? Right? Didn't Cruz end up with the Rays at the end of last year? And there was
I remember who he was with.
A late, right? It was the year before. I think it was last year. There was like an 8th inning meaningless base hit that he had that knocked out like 7 of my teams from the playoffs. I couldn't believe, you know what I mean? I'm watching because at that point I'm scoreboard watching at the very last game. It was the very last slate, very last game for the regular season, and I couldn't believe how many teams moved. I lost that little bell, that little medal or whatever. Oh man, these games are decided by like a hair, dude.
It's crazy how close a lot of these are too. A lot of my spots to get in right now.
Yeah,
my team is struggling. My team was struggling a lot of the year with injuries. Yeah. Hoping Judge comes back soon because that team that I'm doing really well with.
Oh, Judge?
Yeah, I still have a 0 in that outfield spot, but the rest of my guys, like I just said, I have Corbin Carroll, Ohtani, Austin Riley. That team's loaded. And I just kind of got screwed.
All right, good luck, man.
Just put this big old Zippo in my outfield spot, but. Like I said, we could talk for 2 hours. We got a lot of questions in the chat here. Latoya's coming in here first. She says the line is weird on this one. We got the Tigers plus 1.5. Reese Olson, shout out, used to be an old Brewer. Actually know the guy. Actually worked when I worked in the minor leagues with the Brewers. He was on that team. He's shown up, man. He's actually looked a lot better than I expected him to be once he got up here. But I don't mind the Tigers. I don't mind them, but it's just can you trust this offense to get you anything here? And I guess that's the option. What is the line? Does anybody have the actual juice number here?
They were priced pretty. The Tigers were priced pretty close today. The run line 1.5. I see minus 140.
Okay,
getting a run on the full game. But what does that go to show you? People are a little bit sharp to Reese Olson. You would think Padres Tigers. You might have gotten this run line a little closer to even money.
Yeah,
and it's not the case. So, though I think it's probably a sharp play, the Padres offense starting to come alive. I don't think the price is there for me for this one.
It's just tough because the Padres don't really have, outside of Soto, anybody you're worried about from the left side. Cronenworth has been terrible. I just bet on Chris Bassett under 2.5 earned runs at plus money against this team. What lefties are you worried about? Bassett gets nuked by lefties, but all right, just walk Soto. That's what you're going to do. You don't really have to worry about anybody else, right? Like I said, Cronenworth's not been great. Matt Carpenter batting now in the 8 hole. He had his resurgence with the Yankees. He ain't doing anything anymore. So it's it's really tough because they are really right-handed dominant here, which is obviously why they're good against left-handed pitching. But I think Reese Olson does well here. Maybe I'll take a team total under first 5 if I can find a 2.5.
Oh, see, I can get with that. The Tiger, well, you mentioned it. The Tiger offense is what's very hard to back, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Stu, you got anything on the Twins here? We got Twins minus 1.5 from our guy Dimitro here. I don't know what this line is at all for minus 1.5. Let me pull it up on my phone here. Basically,
plus 130, which is nice.
Okay.
Which is nice for to have for the cover.
Yeah, I was going to say the Twins haven't been great to me this year. Obviously, a good pitching matchup right here. I like to be on the side of Ryan whenever I can right here. I'm not maybe the biggest Lance Lynn backer in the world. I will say Lance Lynn, I do think he's a little – I think other teams can take advantage of him a little bit better than maybe the Twins, right? That kind of soft contact style of pitching. I don't know if the Twins I think we might see a solo home run or two in this one. Obviously, they're going to stack the lefties in it, but I don't have a strong take on the Twins, especially as like heavy favorites right here.
Yeah, I think I could get with this one. I think you got a pretty heavy lean. I mean, I got it on the algo, but long story short, it's all the splits. Lynn where he stunk on the road. 850 OPS, 6 ERA, more than 2 home runs per 9, where Ryan's been downright filthy in Minnesota. 538 OPS, less than a home run per 9, and the White Sox offense circling the tank right now, 78 WRC plus, sub 5% barrel, 650 OPS, where the Twins have actually been hitting and stuff. They're striking out as always, and I think that's probably the worry. That's probably the worry is that Lynn, even when he stunk, has had the swing and miss stuff going, that he Ks a dozen Twins. But it still might be enough to get them the 4-1 win. So with plus 130, I could see getting there because the odds are in place. That's really what it's always about kind of for me.
Perfect. Yeah, somebody bringing up already that Lynn, maybe a sneaky K's leader. 7-1, I feel like definitely. I don't know when you have Ohtani on the slate. I feel like nobody else should be anything closer than 10-1 here. NBA props, actually talking about Ohtani, perfect little segue there. Honest question. The idea that Ohtani does not rake on pitching days, is that myth or fact? Despite sentiment, I'd say he's doing well no matter which day it is. I haven't really noticed perceived regression on starts. Obviously, you can't – when I'm betting on DK, right, I'm doing them in – you can't play him as both, right? He's only a pitcher option. He doesn't have the hitting option on days that he throws. So I really haven't looked too much there on that for hitting-wise. I know a lot of people have been cashing in on his home run props. Are you guys going to Ohtani at all today, or any looks there, even if it's just a lead?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any Ohtani bets currently. I will say it's interesting. I think I agree. It used to be Twitter sentiment was you never play Ohtani on a start. That used to be the Twitter sentiment. And now I've noticed people are parlaying like the home run and strikeouts together. I've noticed a lot of, I'm not joking though. I've seen it 3 straight starts. A lot of people are now betting the homer and the combo, which I'm obviously not for. I'm not gonna,
I never even looked at that. How do you even? I didn't know people were really doing that. I didn't know that was a thing. I don't know. I don't mean to knock anybody's split stuff. I don't know anything about it. I hadn't even thought to really weigh it.
Yeah,
he's just a goat. I just think he's a goat. You know what I mean? If he's happens to be pitching on a day that he's opposing a pitcher that struggles with lefties, nothing's holding me back from Ohtani doing his thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. So for me, it's that simple.
Perfect. Let's take a look here. I know a lot of people talking about Senga in the chat. I love Senga. He's a guy that I'm very, very, very overweight to in best ball. He's in probably 6, which is my highest exposure to a pitcher outside of probably Spencer Strider. But Senga has been so good. Terrence bringing up the K ladder. Garth bringing up 8 Ks in his last 3 out of 4. Mine is at 5.5.
Boston is tough, man.
Yeah, I love taking them at home. This is just a tough spot, right? You're in Boston, a lot of lefties, right? I mean, you're going to get maybe a guaranteed 3 strikeouts if you go through the lineup 3 times on Tristan Casas, but I mean, that's the only guy I know 100% can every time. You got a lot of dudes like Verdugo. You got, Duran does strike out quite a bit for a leadoff guy, but Turner, not a heavy strikeout guy. Yoshida barely strikes out. There's a lot of dudes in this lineup that are tough. 2K. Maybe we see a little Kike Hernandez. I know he'll strike out. But, there's a lot of mixes of dudes here that aren't swinging for power. They're just trying to put the ball in play, and those are kind of tough for these K spots. Any thoughts on Kodai Senga at 5.5? I love the dude. I have a lot of exposure to him, but I feel like I could definitely get a better spot than in Boston against this Red Sox team.
Yeah, I wouldn't get there. If anything, I feel like he's the kind of guy where if he's really locked in, like he's locked the F in. So I'd probably just go for a sprinkle on like the 10K alt line or like the daily K leader and not bother with trying to eke out a juiced standard line. Believe it or not, the play I had right in my bubble that I didn't get to, but we're in that game. I went the other way. Crawford has a standard VIG on 4.5 strikeouts. So that feels a little bit low to me. He's, again, guys, as we talk about this stuff, we talk about the books and how they price these things. I think, again, what we could do is try and reverse engineer with some common sense that we see. I think they just go by K rate, right? It's what a lot of people do. If you got to be quick, the quickest thing is K rate. But Cutter Crawford's one of those guys who's like the underpinning stuff, whatever you call it, peripherals, whatever you want to call it, under the hood, is a lot stronger. Check it out. So 24.5K to 6% walk, with a 13% swinging strike, that's higher than Senga. 64 for a strike, 6% higher than Senga. He has a 37% chase rate, that's 9 ticks higher than Senga, and an 82% zone contact rate, 2 full ticks below Senga. Cutter Crawford, quite literally, objectively, is like a better strikeout play than Senga. My man Jay mentioned the Boston, tough to strike out. The Mets, last 500 plate appearances, have a 25.5% K rate with a 182 team batting average. Like, if I was looking for a K prop in this one, I'd be looking for Crawford, and then in particular for doing, I actually have the ladder here. Geez, I got to get into these things more because I see 5Ks at even money, 7Ks at 475, 8Ks I've got at plus 1,100. I mean, that's just like on the menu. You know what I mean? Like 8Ks is on the menu. He just struck out 9 Cubs 5 days ago. You know what I'm saying? So I would go there.
No, I like that angle a lot. I think that's a good spot. And I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I think Senga.
You can even get exposure to both of them. The high Senga alt K and the Cutter mid alt K, like a second step up the rung, and look to wipe, that bad boy clean.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if I do have a Senga bet today, I think it'll be walks rather than strikeout, to be honest. This Boston lineup also very patient, especially at the front, having to go through that Turner, Yoshida, Verdugo with his new approach. Like, I don't mind the walks at all. And obviously, we know Senga can get himself into trouble.
But will you go? I have a question because I love to pick people's brains. Will you go to 3 walks? I find myself in such a chicken. I don't do it, man.
The only guy I've done that on is Mr. Oviedo, and I've been betting him at plus 120 at 2.5. It's free money, dude. That dude just walks 3 dudes every game.
Yeah, Senga's an interesting case, but it's kind of like I said. It feels very like all or none. Yeah. Right, you either get. I mean, he again. A lot of it was front loaded. He had 4 walks.
Yeah,
4
he looks great. He's been really, really, really good lately.
He's actually had only 5 walks in the last 3 combined.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd be worrying about going over 2.5. I think he definitely gets to 2, and then now 3 is off the table. But still, I was wondering, does that number throw you off? I'm just getting into pitching props.
No, the 2.5 is scary for me. I think it's almost the same threshold we've talked about with the hits, runs, RBIs, going from that 1.5 to 2.5. I think it has to be one of those situations where you're not just getting 1 or 2 of the factors you're looking for, you're getting almost all of them, right? Like I think
so even with the recent control and the split against Boston, you're not worried, you're going over.
We'll see. For me, that's why it's not like an official bet or anything yet.
Yeah,
if I were to go to 2.5, I would scale to 0.5 unit, almost 100%. You know what I mean? Because I do.
Yeah, that's the other thing with these plays. They get moved once somebody like Stewie bets it. Smart people follow, and the books are sharp in that manner, right? Sometimes they put up terrible pricing, leaving it very soft intentionally, and as soon as action comes, and whoop,
yeah,
and they don't even move the price; they just move the line, and you're like, you bastards. You know what I mean? They make it hard.
Yeah, I don't think that's enough for me to bet it on the over. The dude has a 1.1 whip over his last 10 starts, which is phenomenal.
Wow.
At the beginning of the year, this dude was terrible. I was getting negatives. Yeah. I was getting a 1.5 to sometimes 2 whip in his games as a fantasy guy. He's been in my starting lineup every single game, and I'm reaping the rewards now. It's taken a while, but yeah, he's got a 1.1 whip over his last 10, and it's tough for me to want to fade him. It's just I don't think I can't find my way to fully fade them, but I can't fully back them. You know,
Yeah,
it's
but
like
now you're on the better part of the wave. Like I didn't even notice it. Shame on me. We're talking about splitting stats. I have the year-to-date stuff up. 12% walk, 39.5% ball rate. Jeff Zimmerman and Fangraphs have been pushing this, and now I've totally adapted it. I think ball percentage is way more predictive and way more nuanced than walk rate. Dude, 40%. Like, to give people an idea, 36 is average. Under 34 is going to control God, right? Anything over like 37, you think about that. You're throwing 4 out of 10 balls missing the zone. And that's with all that good stuff baked in. So yeah, I'm gonna have to think about. I'm gonna maybe come up with a new split, man. Because right now, does anybody care what happened in April? Maybe not.
No, and I mean that's with him just coming over too, right? It's first year.
He had all the variables.
You know, so it's a lot of variables. He did only pitch well at home for like the first 3 months, and then he started kind of figuring in. Yeah, so
18 less variables of the 9,000 he's dealing with. You know.
Yeah. For sure. And let's go through our quick recap here. I think we got through every question here, which is pretty impressive, keeping it under an hour. So we can go through a quick recap, get our plugs in, and if we do have some long shots, we can maybe drop them under the video after, so we get some people to, pop in here and take a look. So we'll pop over to you, Stu. We'll go through your recap, and then we'll get John's picks.
Sounds good. We started out with an MLB hit parlay. Lane Thomas, Yandy Diaz, both to record a hit. That's -106 over on FanDuel. Then we went to Mookie Betts, over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. That's -130 over on DraftKings.
Perfect. And then we got John.
Yeah, we talked about it. Braxton Garrett on the bump for the fish. To hopefully just do his thing. I hope it doesn't come off as greedy, looking to cover up. But the Rockies are really bad, and I think we got a 3-phase edge. So I'm hoping Miami just takes care of Lambert or whoever else they start with the open. And again, Miami offense has been above average, so hopefully that takes care of itself. Then I backed it up with Horse Bradish, my boy Kyle Bradish in Baltimore. Again, I just think this is a misprice. We mentioned a pick Mitch change, and then he got the effects from it, right? So 7 Ks, or I think 8 in 2 of the last 5, 7 in 4 of the last 5. And then one of those, there was a 10 sprinkled in if you skip the Jays outing. So, yeah, for me, it's Bradish. I just think this is a misprice. So I think 6 Ks is totally in line. Give me Kyle Bradish, strikeout over.
Give John. I gotta give you a shout out there. You just slipped Horse Bradish in there.
The Horse Bradish.
Got me you're killing me there. You just slipped it in so quiet. Didn't even acknowledge it. And then I'm just thinking, I'm 3 seconds behind. It just registered, so I started dying in there.
Spicy. Horse Bradish is very spicy.
That's awesome.
Super spicy.
The fade, I know you'll be on the Lane train. I'll be on the fade Jake Irvin train here of the Nationals. First 5 over 5.5. Hopefully Lane goes 2 dongs today.
Yeah,
gets us to 6 in the first half here. And then I'm going with my guy, Corbin Carroll, over 2.5 hits, runs, RBIs at +125. Had to throw that plus money in there. John, we appreciate you popping on. Thank you so much. Where can people find you? Where can they find the content, man? All your writing, everything that you got?
I appreciate you. I really do. I have stuff everywhere. So the best thing is just go to Twitter, right? At John Laghezza, JOHN LAGHEZZA, and that'll get you there, right? Because I have all of this stuff pinned, and if you just scan a little bit, I try to be very good with it because I'm doing so much, right? NFL and MLB article at The Athletic. I have the baseball pack that's up $20 rest of season with all the data, picks, algo scores. I just launched the football pack. That's $10 for the entire season. And I do fantasy updates every single week, doing the work so other people don't have to, especially during the summertime. I know it can be really tough, especially baseball, to stay on top of it. And then if you want, again, we're doing a second half MLB Survivor Tournament, $100. We're going to take all percentage to St. Jude's charity. And yeah, it's a good way to cash in and bet on. It's a different way to bet on baseball, right? It's not so much like up and down every single night. You kind of let the $100 roll, and like I said, we're up over $1,000, and I'll probably get a couple last-minute entries also. So I'm looking forward to some new ones, hopefully.
Awesome. Stu, what do you got for the people here?
Well, yeah, before we get out of here, too, I want to say $10, guys, in this industry, that is literally nothing. It is absolutely nothing. When a monthly membership, to any of these places is going to run you $80 for half the data, maybe. So I would 100% check this out. I'll be checking it out personally. I've only ever bought one product in my whole lifetime on gambling Twitter. That was John's baseball product before the season started. We'll make it number 2 right here with the NFL one. I do want to ask you a quick question before we get out of here. Do you have your list of MLB strikeout leaders just before we get out of here? I want to hear the complete list on which you got today.
Okay, so if anyone is interested, again, please, you got to bet these responsibly because they're 120 to 1 for a reason. But I mean, honestly, looking at this board, to lead the night in strikeouts, gosh, I think I made a pretty good argument for it. And if you can make a pretty good argument for something, it probably shouldn't be 150 to 1. So I like Carter Crawford at 150 to 1. I also mentioned Zach Eflin. He's got strikeout stuff. He's at 90 to 1. And then if I was going to be a little bit safe, my boy Braxton Garrett that I mentioned is at 12 to 1, who's probably that's probably the most realistic. It's not a long shot 12 to 1 because of what Jay said. Ohtani's on the slate. He's gonna affect the down movement. But come on, 150 to 1 on those backing guys. So even if you pump the brakes on Garrett, I rolled out a little Eflin and Cutter Crawford love just in case.
Yeah, no, I placed the Cutter Crawford with you already this morning at 100, so I'm there. That was one of the first two that popped out. I mean, I love any of the guys too that pop in the stuff plus, that really pop there because the actual stuff is good, right? It's just about kind of getting all the other factors in line right there.
Well, you're about to start a whole other conversation. Don't do this. Yeah. I was pointing that stuff out in the preseason, and right now we have some very prominent fantasy analysts trying to take shits on stuff plus, and I just think they're not using it properly. Again, it's almost like just really quick. It's like exit velocity and launch angle. The averages is always going to get you in trouble. Yep. So you don't want to look at stuff. I don't look at stuff plus as a whole. I look at the compartmentalized. What is the stuff plus on the fastball? Most importantly, remember slider stuff is going to be really good no matter what. So you don't want to have a really good, great slider pulling up a bad fastball because as Jay knows, being involved in pitching the way he is, fastballs are the centerpiece. They're the foundational piece of an arsenal. Right? If it's not any good, it doesn't matter how good the rest of your crap is. It almost doesn't matter because people are going to wait on the fastball if you can't throw for strikes and annihilate it. So we'll make sure to do a fantasy thing for everybody in the off season.
Oh, for sure. That would be awesome there.
No, 100%.
Yeah. I think obviously that'd be good for people to understand kind of the way we kind of think through things. I mean, you're going to give me my boy Kikuchi at 21 to 1. You're going to give me my boy Kodai Senga there. I'm going to be taking those
Senga's always a pop for it.
Those two got to be on mine. But no, before we head out, I'd like to just say again, thank you, John, for tuning in. We love we always see you in the chat. We always see you over here.
Yeah.
We try
to support
over by you guys. Make sure you go over to Call to the Pen. I put John's Twitter link in the description of this video as well. So go follow him, guys. Shoot him a DM. I know he's just like us. DMs are always open. Try to get to him as quickly as possible. If you have any other questions, make sure you drop them in the comments after. We will get to them a lot of time before first pitch. Because we didn't bet on the Cubs, but a lot of time. So we'll try our best to get to everything there. Again, make sure you guys say thank you to John. He's been great for us. And hopefully you guys are back on Monday for another round of Pass the Prop baseball edition. So thank you guys. Thank you, John.
Enjoy the weekend,
we'll be back on Monday.